Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to another top 5 movies list, and this time I am doing the top 5 worst movies that I saw in summer 2016, which is, well, I think it feels like every year the movie summer is getting longer and longer. Like it used to be like in, June to August, now it's May. Some people would say it starts in April. Last year when Furious 7 came out, and the year before that when Winter Soldier came out, everybody was like, this is the start of the summer movie season. This year, not so much. There wasn't really too much in April. So I'm just going to say from the beginning of May to the end of August, here are the worst ones that I saw. It could be anything. It could be a small movie, it could be a big movie, it could be a medium movie. It doesn't matter. It could be anything. So, well, it has to be a movie, of course. So here are the top 5 worst movies I saw for summer 2016. Yep, I'm here to talk about this one again. Jason Bourne. I had to think long and hard about this because originally Ben-Hur was going to be my number 5. And technically it is a worse movie than Jason Bourne. But I was not, no one, I don't think anybody, was expecting anything from Ben-Hur. Was anybody? I don't think anybody was. The trailers were awful. The director, I mean, poor choice for director for that movie. The guy that directed Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, like, really? It just did not have any hype going into it at all. So no one was expecting it to be good. I didn't think it was good. I thought it was bad, of course. Not terrible, but it was like below average, and maybe even closer to average sometimes, But Jason Bourne, I was so excited for. And really, if you watch my top 5 most disappointing movies of summer, I do not need to tell you why I thought this movie was bad, because I already did. But really, I just thought it was so lifeless. There was nothing to it. It really was. There was no action scene that made me go, yeah. There was one scene in one action part, where I thought it was really, really cool, and it was in the trailer with the armored car plowing through like all these cars, and cars are flying around. Most of the time it's just Jason Bourne on a cell phone going, yeah. Actually, he doesn't say anything. I'm sorry, he doesn't say yeah. He's just on a cell phone sometimes, and he's like, I'm gonna find you. And then he walks, I don't know, he kicks someone sometimes. It's just the same shit we've seen before, except way worse, more amateurish. It does not feel like Paul Verhoeven did this, and maybe it's because he has another movie coming out this year, so maybe he had like double directing duties, and he was just like, I'm going to focus more on this. I'm going to get Jason Bourne out of the way. Who cares? I mean, obviously people do, but I don't really care. I'm going to focus on this other movie, which I heard is much better. I can't remember what it's called, but it's supposed to be much better than this. And it just feels like no one really gave a shit. Like, the directing is lousy, I think. The acting is fine, but, like, the villain is so lame. The whole story is pointless, I feel. Like, the only thing we get to know about Jason Bourne, even though the movie is called Jason Bourne, he's barely the main character, but the only thing we get to know about Jason Bourne is about his father. That is it. His father, who I'm not going to say anything about, but we don't really see that much of. The whole story is about a new Treadstone, a new agency being built up, and it's just so lame. We don't get to see anything about this new program that's exactly like Treadstone. We don't really get to see all that. The only like good part to the acting, everything else is like eh. The only good actor, I would say, I'm sorry, they're all good actors, but the only good performance in this movie, I would say, was Vincent Cassel, who plays a kind of a cool little premise where you have this character who hates Jason Bourne because Jason Bourne pretty much screwed this guy over. I'm not going to spoil it just in case. He screwed this guy over in a huge way, so you know why he wants to get revenge. So that's the only good part. Everything else I found extremely lame about this film, and it was a huge disappointment. So excited, and it dropped the ball completely. I was so bored. I was like this in my seat, like, oh man, how is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies more entertaining than this? How? So anyway, that was number 5, Jason Bourne. Number 4, The Sea of Trees. Remember that movie earlier this year called The Forest, about the suicide forest? Well, imagine you take that movie, strip out all the really shitty jump scares and horror, and have it be about a depressed man who wants to kill himself in the suicide forest in Japan. I forgot what the actual forest is called, but it's a suicide forest. Everybody knows what it's about. A man, played by Matthew McConaughey, that wants to kill himself. Decent premise. I mean, not decent. I mean, it's a you know a very very generic premise with a really eerie setting. The forest is really creepy, I think, and that's why I thought The Forest was such a terrible movie because it screwed it up. And to be honest, this one, not as bad as The Forest. The Forest didn't come out this summer. It would definitely be ahead of this movie, let me tell you. But this movie screws up so bad because it's not a horror movie. It's a drama about a man who wants to kill himself because something happened. It doesn't tell you until later what happens. And along the way, while he's in the forest, he meets another man played by Ken Watanabe who is about to kill himself too. He actually just slit his wrist, but he's not dead. So, and Matthew McConaughey kind of like takes care of him, and then Ken Watanabe and both of them kind of have this little journey, and they become friends and stuff, and they realize they don't want to kill themselves. There's more to life, and I'm going to tell you right here, the first hour of this film is actually okay. I liked it. I did. I thought it was a decent little, I'll bet sluggishly paced at times, drama in a very, very unique setting that I feel like is going to be really overused in the next couple of years. But, I mean, this year we've already had 2 movies set in this place in 2 different genres. But this movie is really decent the first hour. I wouldn't say amazing or unique, but there's some really good performances and even some decent dialogue here and there. There's some really cringeworthy ones, but there's a whole like moment where Matthew McConaughey breaks down and he talks about why he's in this forest to Ken Watanabe while they're in front of like a campfire, and he's breaking down, he's crying. He's really good in this. Everybody, for the most part, is really good in this. And there's whole flashbacks about why he's here. I'm not going to spoil it just in case and nobody knows about this and they for some reason want to see it. They have like flashbacks that are really well done and well implemented. The only thing I didn't really like at all about the first hour is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is way too manipulative. It's like, you're supposed to feel sad here, so they play the sad music. Oh, aren't you sad? I've never seen a movie dive bomb so hard in the last 40 minutes of anything. This movie, okay, the first hour is really good, and then the next 40 minutes, I would say the next 15 minutes of the 40 minutes I'm talking about is like a slow ramp up to that stupid shit. And then the next 25 minutes of that 40 minutes is just completely ridiculous. I don't want to spoil it for you, but let me just tell you, if you see this movie, if you're like someone that likes to watch bad movies and like, and you want to see a train wreck, this movie ends in a way that you just go, what was the point? It was so terrible. Such a terrible ending. It's one of those endings that it just feels like it needs to have a twist. It's so bad. I can't even explain it without spoiling it. How terrible and amateurish and just ridiculous, dumb fuck that last like 40 minutes is. Wow. Because I even put on Twitter, like, I'm watching this movie and it's pretty good. 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. And then the last 40 minutes happens. I'm like, oh, I was not expecting it to go that terrible. So yeah, The Sea of Trees is on here ahead of Jason Bourne because at least Jason Bourne was boring and, you know, maybe a little exciting here and then boring and then just disappointing. This movie was like, it's okay, what the fuck? Like, it just went, way to the bottom. I was like, wow. I mean, it's kind of entertaining in a way, just thinking about it. Like, you could have, if you nailed the ending, a 7 out of 10, easily. Would have been a decent film. Maybe go see it in a Redbox. But, I mean, I still actually recommend seeing this just to see how Gus Van Sant, the director, of course, so he's directed some really good movies in the past and some shitty ones, this included, just went, you know what, fuck this movie, and just went way down. He's just like, screw it, whatever. It's a terrible movie overall. So, there you go. Number 4 is The Sea of Trees. Number 3, this movie, The Mechanic Resurrection. I'm going to tell you right here. I'm a big fan of the 70s Charles Bronson Mechanic movie. Has a great premise, an assassin that kills people but makes it look like an accident. Great premise. And I really like the Jason Statham one that came out like fucking 20 years ago at this point? Like, it was like 5 years ago. So when I heard they were going to make a sequel, I was like, I think it's past time to make a sequel. Also, that movie didn't make money. So what? Then I heard it made a lot of money on DVD, so I guess that's why. And it came out out of nowhere. There was no buzz for it at all. I saw it. I was kind of looking forward to it because the trailers look terrible. And let me tell you, 33% of this movie is hilariously awesome. It's so bad. The next 66% or 67%, that's 100%, is absolute trash. It is absolutely terrible, and there might be some funny moments in that terrible, boring shit, but for the most part, it's a movie that it's only a 90-minute movie. If they cut out an hour of this movie, kept all the great stuff, and just made it a short film, like a Kung Fury, I would have told you, go see it. It's worth it. Bring a bunch of friends. Get drunk. I mean, you probably won't get... You'll have to get drunk before the movie because it'll be too short for you to even get too buzzed. But the movie is so terrible for that hour that 30 minutes that's spread out here and there is so entertaining. It felt like finding a cup of water in a desert every 2 miles. Every 2 miles you'll find another glass of water, and it's really cold and nice and refreshing, and you just love it. And that's what this movie is. It's so much terrible shit. It's boring. Character development I don't care about. I mean, some of it is laughable, like I said. I would say maybe 40% of this movie is hilarious or awesome bad, and then 60% is, just could be edited out completely. There's a terrible villain. Tommy Lee Jones shows up, and he's great for the 2 minutes he's in it. There's a whole romance between Jessica Alba and Jason Statham. Jessica Alba is abysmal in this, like she is in every movie. But let me tell you, the great stuff. The first 5 minutes is ridiculously awesome, and I loved it. I was like, yeah, this movie's gonna be awesome. And then it went to about 20-30 minutes of boring shit until it got to the next awesome moment. I was like, oh my god, this is worse than Jason Bourne. and then something awesome happened where he had to go kill someone and make it look like an accident, and it was ridiculous. You can see his plan coming into fruition and stuff. I'm like, this is so dumb. Oh my god. And the way he kills the guy doesn't even look like an accident. The way he kills him just looks like he killed him while he was talking to him alone. And he killed the guy, and everybody knew it, and he got out of there. So he didn't even do his job right. The next one, he has to kill another guy, make it look like an accident, and that's the part in the trailer and the poster where there's a pool all the way up there. It's the most obvious way to kill this guy. Oh, he likes to take a swim up on his pool on top of this building that's jutting out, so it's just this pool on added to this building, and it's just floating in the sky pretty much. So he just destroys the bottom of it and he falls down, and it's hilarious. It's terrible looking. The special effects are awful, but it's hilarious and great. And the way that guy falls, it's just oh, and it's great. That was hilarious. And then the last maybe 15 minutes of this movie is so insanely dumb. I would say the last 30 minutes was insanely dumb to the point I was enjoying it. But then, about 15 minutes into that 30 minutes, about 10 minutes of that 30 minutes, I got really bored. And then 10 minutes went by, and I'm like, this is boring. And then the last 10 minutes of that 30 minutes was amazing. I know I'm breaking this up in the most confusing way, but let's just say around 35-40 minutes of this 95-minute movie was really entertaining. So it was around 40-45% of this movie. I'm breaking it up in weird ways. Alright? I'm making this into way more of the mathematical solution than it has to be. This movie is terrible. If they edited out a good 50, maybe almost an hour of this movie, it would have been great. It would have been so much fun. But there was so much dumb bullshit, I have to put it at number 3. There you go. Whew. Next one. Number 2. Stop getting excited, because now we're into the movies that have no redeeming value whatsoever. The other ones had some funny moments, some legitimate good moments, or whatever. This one has none of that. The only thing I could say about this movie is that it is a turd. It is a number 2. A perfect spot for this. And yes, I know I made the obvious joke, it's a number 2. But it actually fits, because just like your stool in the morning, this movie is dark. Not that it's dark, it's a PG-13 horror movie. It's dark because it's called The Darkness. I hate this movie. I hate it so much. I just watched it a few days ago, and I can't get over the fact how awful it really is. This movie made me more angry than any other movie on this list, or any other movie this year besides my number 1 and maybe a couple other ones. So it's not everything else this year. But this one made me really angry. It's definitely going to be in my top 5 so far this year because this one has nothing. It is a generic horror movie. This is what it is. It's pretty much Poltergeist, except the Indian burial ground is not in the house or under the house, of course. It's actually just a little bit further away from the house. They go there, the family, led by Kevin Bacon, Rhoda Mitchell. I don't know who plays the two kids in this, but you have a daughter and a kid who's autistic. And the autistic kid finds these rocks, these rocks, and he takes them because he's a little shithead, and he takes them, brings them home, and then these Indian spirits start like screwing around with the house and stuff, and screwing around with the family. And it's so generic, not scary whatsoever, telegraph scares. I was literally going, jump scare, and it would happen. I was like pointing at the screen and saying jump scare, and it would happen. Like, I find these movies insulting that are so generic, not scary, no interesting characters whatsoever, some decent actors, but no real great performances. Kevin Bacon tries, so does Rhoda Mitchell. Hell, even Paul Reiser, who I haven't seen in a freaking long time, is in this movie, and he's trying. Even Matt Walsh is in it for like 5 minutes, and he's trying too. They're trying. They're giving it their all, so this movie isn't completely fucking worthless, but they failed hard because this movie is completely worthless. The characters aren't likable. The performances are pretty damn weak. You know, average to below average, I would say. Not terrible. And the stupid ghost shit in this is laughably bad. And not that it's like laughably like, haha, funny bad, you know, not like Mechanic where it feels like they were in on the joke. This one is just like, they really thought it was scary. Like, oh, watch out, a coyote popped up out of nowhere. Whoa, you know, like Indian stuff, you know, animal shit, spirits, whatever. Oh, a buffalo popped up. Oh, a raven popped up. Whoa, not a raven or a crow, I can't remember. Whoa, no, not a snake. Anything but a snake. It reminded me so much of that shitty movie from last year, The Gallows, where they really wanted rope to look scary. This movie really wanted a coyote jumping at you to look scary, which admittedly in real world, a coyote jumping at me is scary. But in this movie, it's just silly and dumb, and you can tell some of the animals are special effects and stuff. They didn't have much of a budget for this movie, which I'm not surprised. I don't know why anybody would give this movie that much of a budget, but the special effects are terrible that are around it. Like, there's this whole thing that is so the TV from a Poltergeist where the kid is like talking to this wall, and there's this big black stain on the wall because there was a fire earlier, so there's a big burnt mark, and he's talking to it, and it's like starting to like have like this shitty looking CG smoke come out of it, and it's totally Poltergeist where what is their name, Marianne or something like that, is talking to the TV and whatever. It's exactly the same. It's Poltergeist. They ripped off Poltergeist, which I know other movies have ripped off Poltergeist, don't get me wrong, it's not the first time, but this movie is straight up Poltergeist, except the main kid isn't some creepy girl. He's a creepy kid that has autism, so you kind of feel bad for him a little bit, even though the kid playing the kid, I know I have family members that are autistic. They do not act like this kid. This kid just stares at walls most of the time. Maybe there is cases where you know, kids that have autism just stare at walls, but that's all this kid does is stare at fucking walls. And it's not scary, not creepy. Nothing in this movie is good. The dialogue is terrible. Luckily, it was short, but it didn't feel short, so I can't even say that's a positive. It's a terrible movie. Oh, also, when you find out what these Indian creatures at the end look like, these things that have been haunting everybody, guess what? They look like shit. Remember at the end of Krampus, if you saw Krampus from last year, how cool Krampus looked with all the practical makeup and stuff, and it looked like a guy in a costume, but it was like a really built guy, really tall guy, and the makeup stuff was really good. Imagine that if it was straight to DVD and made by some asshole that didn't give a shit. That's what those creatures in this movie look like. That's pretty much what they look like. And it's made by a guy that has made some good stuff. He made, the same director that made this made Rogue, which is a really good movie about an alligator that attacks a bunch of people, and that also had Rhoda Mitchell in it, and it's a really good movie. He also did Wolf Creek and Wolf Creek 2. I didn't see the second one, but I enjoyed the first one. So this guy has made some good stuff in the past which is weird why this one's so terrible. But anyway, that's The Darkness. That's pretty much my review, too. I guess these are all kind of mini reviews, so I don't need to ever review these again. So, there you go. The Darkness is my number 2, and it deserves to be there. Number 1. Oh, man. This movie, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm embarrassed to say that I was looking forward to this movie. I really am now. I am ashamed of myself that I said in my trailer reactions for these trailers, I think there was like 2 or 3 of them, that I said, that looks like fun. That looks like it's going to be fun. Even though I don't like the first one, that's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy that. I'm going to like it. It's going to be fun. That's going to be one of the most fun movies of the summer. The movie I'm talking about, of course, is Independence Day, We're Fucking Surgeons, which I hate this movie. But also, I should have known, just like with The Mechanic, I should have known when they put that fucking, that generic-ass subtitle there, where any word with R-E in the beginning, and you're going to put that word as the subtitle, you're admitting that you have no more ideas and you just don't give a shit. They're like, whatever. They could have just called this Independence Day 2. Why didn't they just say that? If they said that, I would have been like, oh, okay, that's fine. Resurgence, resurrection, retribution, revival, rebirth, all these words. It's so generic and obvious that you don't give a flying fuck. You know what's more obvious that you don't give a flying fuck? The movie. The movie you don't care about. The only people that gave a shit about this movie is the people doing the visual effects. The visual effects are nice. But the best parts of the visual effects are in the trailer. So what's the point of seeing the movie if you're just going to be fucking annoyed by all the shitty dialogue, terrible characters, fucking Jar Jar Binks level fucking humor, and just hate every single moment, every frame of this fucking 2.5 hour bore fest, if the action, all the good stuff is in the fucking trailers. All the good stuff you can watch on your TV, on YouTube, or your fucking computer screen, your iPhone, your goddamn iPod Nano. I don't know. You can't watch it on that. But you can watch it on anything with a screen and has internet capabilities and has a fucking volume button. Or you don't even need to turn the volume on. Just watch it on your Apple Watch. Oh yeah, this alien ship hit the thing. Whatever, that's cool. That's it. That's all you need to watch. Everything else will give you a fucking ulcer. Like it's giving me right now just thinking about it. Everything else, it just fucking skull fucks your intelligence. I hate every character in this movie. Even Jeff Goldblum's character. I love Jeff Goldblum's. You made me hate Jeff Goldblum. His fucking father, played by the guy that should be dead. I can't remember his name. I don't. Every character. Liam Hemsworth. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but at first he was actually ending up being a character I might like because he had some witty banter between him and his friend. But then that completely disappeared and he became generic military man. But to be honest, he's probably the most likable character besides Bill Pullman. Bill Pullman, the only reason why he's likable is because, kind of like Liam Hemsworth, he's just there, not talking really. Those are two characters I don't hate. You know why? Because they're not fucking talking. Will Smith's son in this movie is one of the worst actors out there. And I'm not talking about Will Smith's actual son. Will Smith's character's son in this movie is terrible. The dialogue is awful. The drama is even worse. The movie is way too fucking long and just boring as all sin. And all the action you saw in the trailers, when it's in this movie, sure, the special effects are really nice, pretty good. There's some good set pieces here, could have been good set pieces, I should say, but it ends up all being terribly boring. And there's even a whole 10-minute sequence where Liam Hemsworth and Will Smith's son, I think his name is, he's played by Jesse Usher or whatever, or something like that, or whatever, it doesn't matter. And they're on the ground shooting at the aliens. It's just alien going bang bang bang, and it's you can't even tell what the hell's going on most of the time. The camera work is terrible, and it's one of the worst action sequences I've ever seen in my life. I cannot stand disaster movies that are terrible. I can't stand them when they can't do the one thing they're supposed to be there for right. You know? When it can't do the disaster part right, and it's too fucking dark and you can't tell what the hell you're looking at, the movie is dark as fuck. I'm not talking about dark material-wise, they killed that character in a grim way. No, I'm talking about the movie is fucking dark where I can't see anything. And when you can't see the destruction, what the fuck is the point? There's only a couple scenes where it's like daylight and the special effects are there and you can see them. And even sometimes when the daylight's hitting the special effects, you can tell they're really fake. So maybe that's why. Maybe they just didn't have good special effects. They were just like, make it really dark. So they can't tell. I hate this movie. I can't express how I hate this movie. I'm all jumbled. I was going to do a review for this movie. And I was just like, no, I'm just going to fucking hate fuck this movie pretty much. I hate it. I really do. I hate this movie. And that's why I think this is worse than The Darkness. Even though I could say something positive about this and I can't about The Darkness, this movie had way worse stuff at a level that is way, way higher than The Darkness's terrible stuff. Like, The Darkness's terrible stuff is like an 8 or a 9. This is straight up a 10. The characters are just insufferable. The comedy makes me want to die. The stupid-ass reveals, the aliens themselves, it's just so bad. I can't express how much I hate this movie without just saying fuck this movie over and over again. So I'm just going to stop here and say my #1 worst movie of this summer, it might be my worst movie of this year, is Independence Day Resurgence. It can go and fucking fuck itself. I'm sorry, I'm cursing a lot, but you know, it's the worst movies. That's what's gonna happen. But anyway, there you go. That's my top 5 worst movies of summer 2016. The summer season is over. And next video I'm going to do my top 5 best movies of 2016 summer. And I'm going to be way more positive and calm. I'm going to be like, yo, this movie's good as shit, bro. So look forward to that. That'll be coming in the next couple days. So anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Until next time, goodbye.